What's up guys, Joey B here again with another C tier Summoner's Glory video, and today we've got an absolute banger. I'm going to be showing off my master Merlin, who in my opinion is potentially up there as one of the top phantoms in the game, as hopefully you'll understand why after this little video. I'll start off by just kind of showing you my stats here, like roughly what I've aimed for. As you can see, tried as much crit rate, crit damage as I can, with a good amount of magical attacks stacked on him. HP, he's got quite a low base HP, but as you can see, it's still possible to get him up over the million range, and this is only Evo 7, so he's still got another upgrade to go. High base magic defense, which does nothing at the moment, but hopefully once defense is kind of reworked to operate properly, that'll come into play a little bit. And his base speed's really low, so if you're really wanting this guy to go before anybody else in your team, it's going to require you to farm a lot of good runes. Anyway, let's get into roughly skills so that you can see what he can bring. Skill 1, simple, just single target hit, 50% chance to drop turn meter. It is 50%, it doesn't always land, so you can't really rely on it. Second skill is just a big boost for physical defense, magical defense, 350%, which is massive. So come a point where maybe defense becomes key in this game, then I'll be keeping an eye out for this skill to become a bit more valuable. His next skill is his 12 hitter. Like, this is the biggest single target nuke in the entire game by far. Deals, well, it can deal 120% damage. Obviously, my skills did not want to land on this at all. But yeah, this is his damage ability, and you'll see later on in the video just what sort of numbers you can be looking at of this skill. But lastly, the biggest advantage to running this Phantom in any team is passive. Look at it right there. Magic attack increase by 40% for me currently. 45% potential if you can get this skilled out. That is nutty. And you'll see it in effect. I'll showcase a little bit of his passive on its own, just so you can see how big of an increase you'll be gaining. But yeah, that's his skills, and let me show you how I've built him. So if I get into his runes, so I've went with the traditional damage dealer build, 4 Squall, 2 Harvest. A few of the runes are pretty god tier if I don't say so myself. A few can still be worked on, so there's still improvements to be made. Start off with a HP rune. A lot of physical defense, which is pretty irrelevant currently, so the M attack, not so bad. Crit rate, effect accuracy. This one I rolled up this morning. Got very lucky on the 2 substats rolling with crit rate and crit damage, but yeah, that for me is pretty top end roll. The only other thing it could have is maybe a little bit extra speed. You could probably get the +6 for the top roll, but oh well. His speed rune, got extra speed on it, that's all I really care about. The P attack, that's unfortunate, but we can change that when we get something a bit better. Effect resistance with stack of 21 HP. Because he's got such a low base HP, I needed something to get him up so that he can't just be crushed for like Puppeteer and Ghost Vault runs, because she does get pretty close to ruining this guy. His crit rate rune, extra crit rate, some crit damage, more HP, and yet again another roll of defense that's needing swapped out whenever I can find a rune good enough. And the physical defense rune, this isn't really big. It's got a big amount of crit damage. That's what I like. I've already maxed his crit rate out, so for me that's pretty big. Anyway, now you can see how I've went to build him, what you're kind of looking to achieve. I'm going to set up a couple of formations for you just to show this guy's passive and exactly what it brings to you. Okay guys, so I've set up a couple of formations. I'll start off, this isn't a King Arthur spotlight, but I'm going to use him and you'll see why in just a minute. So I'll just do a couple of attacks so we can get some damage numbers off here. We'll do his big cleave skill so we can try get the damage numbers easier. So about 280 to 300k per hit there. Not too bad, not amazing, but however, let's back out of this after all. And let's see, when we change the formation, and bring in our monstrous Merlin, who shouldn't really make a difference in this team with his magic attack passive. However, your friend Joey B knows otherwise. So here we go. So what did we say? 280k per hit Arthur was getting on his cleave. 280, 300k. Never seen anything over 300. So here we go. Let's see what numbers he gets when Merlin's jumped into the team. 430, 435. So there you go. It's added 150, 160k onto King Arthur's damage. A physical attack phantom. Now that is nutty. So I hope you take from that Master Merlin's passive, maxed out, plus 45% attack increase on all of your phantoms. I will say it does not work for HP based champions. Thankfully, we don't need anything else buffing Secret Dancer anymore. But any magic attack phantoms and physical attack phantoms, you're going to get a 45% boost with this man in your team. Hence why I'm running a full physical and magical attack team rather than the puppeteers and secret dancers we see. So now that you've seen what he brings to the team, I'll go away for a minute and set up a little running Ghost Vault so you can hopefully get a gauge of what sort of damage numbers this man's going to be putting out with the sort of build that I've got here. And hopefully you'll see he can bring a lot more than just boosting your DPS phantoms. So I'll be right back. Here we go, guys. So I've started a fight in Ghost Vault and got up to where my Mars defense is just procced, like your standard sort of setup for a damage. We have got a couple of bleeds landed for the Scarlet Saber, so I'm not going to take those numbers into account. We'll try see if we can get numbers from this phantom on the left. See what sort of damage he puts out. There you go. I just seen an 800k pop up there. And that is literally just... that's nuts. If you think of that, 12 hits, the numbers you can just produce is mental. I'm going to continue. I'm going to get us through to Atlas, as I know what sort of numbers he can hit up there, and it's a single target, so we should get a really good feel for how much of a percentage drop he's going to do on her HP bar. So I'll be back with you in 2 seconds. What's up, guys? So I've carried through with the Ghost Vault and I've managed to set it up with just Alice left. I haven't landed any debuffs on her, so all the damage is just going to be from the passive, Zoe's passive, the Mars defense and the Rage and Fury. So we'll see what sort of numbers they can pick out against the biggest, tankiest monster that we have so far. So there you go. So about 35-40% of her HP straight down. Not too bad. Normally in teams you're only looking at a Zoe that's possibly going to drop you a bar on, or maybe an Ankaris. So there you go. Not only does he buff your entire team's attack, he also hits out some crazy numbers. In squads you will see ridiculous high numbers like 1.7, I've had 1.7 million, 1.8 million per hit. Times that over 12, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, I'll let this play out and then I'll finish off just by showing everyone the best part about this Phantom. Because it's not normal that the game kind of gifts you something as good as this. That's totally free to play friendly. That's to acquire them and to skill them up. So if you jump into here, go to your activity, Phantom Abode, all the way up to the end, right down, the very last mission of Phantom Abode, you have right there, obtainable SS fragments and S champions to get the skill ups. But just for completing it in this little chest, you get them for free. The game literally gives you Merlin for free. Probably the best attack buffer, let alone Zoe, and can put out ridiculous DPS. So if you don't have Zoe, I'd say snag yourself a Merlin, get that attack boost, and start putting out some nutty numbers. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. about Merlin, and maybe this pushes people towards actually building this guy out, getting him in your teams, as he's certainly a lot of fun to use. Thank you for watching, and peace out.